Well, for the first time ever, CM Punk's stock seems to be at an all-time low. This as news has come out that he was denied access back into the WWE. This reported by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, our favorite dirt sheet writer extraordinaire, right? The dirt sheet godfather, if you will. The same guy who had reported that CM Punk was in talks with WWE to begin with. Or was he? I have my thoughts on this. But first, before we do that, check out this clip from the boys over at What Culture Wrestling, those blokes, as they talk about the big news of CM Punk turned down for a return to the WWE. Check out this clip.
WWE has turned down CM Punk.
Wow.
What a development this is in the ongoing saga. I'm going to read the exact quote from Wrestling Observer Radio so there's no doubt in anybody's mind as to what was said. Dave Meltzer, here he goes. They turned him down. He wanted to go there, and the decision was a no. It can always change, and it was brought up to me, there's no such thing as no forever when it comes to WWE, but it's no for now. That was the decision that was made. It was Vince's decision. Vince, Nick Khan, and Paul Levesque, obviously they decided the negatives outweighed the positives. So, it's the latest twist in this saga. Dave had reported himself last week that there'd been some kind of talks. Punk wanted to go back to WWE since being fired from AEW with cause in early September. But no deal was done. I think that Dave's report got conflated a little bit, and people were like, that's definitely happening in Survivor Series.
Yeah, they put it all together because Survivor Series in Chicago.
When really what he said in his write-up was Survivor Series would make sense.
I call bullshit on this one. I think Dave Meltzer's full of shit. He was the one who reported that CM Punk was in talks with WWE. How the fuck does he know? He was on the Young Bucks side, remember? He wasn't getting shit. He was the one. CM Punk was pissed at Dave Meltzer. I highly doubt he's getting information from Punk's side. Are there people in the WWE leaking information to Dave Meltzer that CM Punk is in negotiations with them? Well, if you listen to Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful, who is credible as fuck, who doesn't have all of the shady stories and shady theories and shady this and that write-ups that Dave Meltzer has, Sean Ross Sapp has a little bit of a different perspective on this. Check out this clip.
The other day, I had debunked a fake Twitter scoopster that said CM Punk is signed to a 1-year, $11 million contract. I said, this is completely false. I got a call from a WWE higher-up, unprompted, and they said CM Punk not only is not signed by AEW, we are not signed by WWE. We are not in negotiations with CM Punk. Now, I had somebody say, can you give me a little hope? If you want a little bit of hope, it is that CM Punk himself made that offhand comment saying, in 2 months, I'm free as a bird, yada, yada. And if for some reason he's under a non-compete, then of course WWE can't negotiate with him. However, top talent, and Jimmy knows who this top talent are. Is it safe to say, Jimmy, that WWE is not going to lie or risk alienating these top talents?
100%.
100%. We're outright told he ain't coming in. They're not planning on it. It's not happening. That's what these top talent were outright told, because I don't just hear from a top person in WWE and the top talent and just run with it. I follow up. I followed up with people close to Punk, and people close to Punk said, yeah, the conversations haven't happened. Now, 2 weeks ago, I had reported that Punk had or at least one of his friends had been sort of a feeler asking how should this be approached, and that he was told should probably just be Vince McMahon. You should probably reach out to him. However, things have changed, at least creatively, in just the last 2 weeks, which is another story that we went in the weeds on FightfulSelect.com, best $5 in the business. Now, I want to make this clear and clip it. Kyler's going to clip it so I can say this. As of October 10th, this is how things are going to go. I do not know how things are going to go in November, December, January. It's wrestling. Anything can happen. Ultimate Warrior got a ton of shots, and he was batshit crazy. Another one is, well, of course, they're trying to keep the surprise. No, specifically in that call, I was told that they did not want to set unrealistic expectations for fans watching or going to the show. Now,
so as of right now, CM Punk is not and has not been in talks with WWE, and fans should lower their expectations for the Survivor Series. And Sean Ross Sapp went on to say that this is not like we're working the dirt sheet situation. If he's on to something, they either will outright say, nope, you're completely wrong, you should probably stop reporting this and stirring shit up. Or they ignore him completely. They don't feed him bullshit. They don't mislead. They just fucking ignore it. Black it out. Try to keep it tight-lipped. And that's how he knows that there's more there to dig into. Every once in a while, yes, people will drop him, obviously, but for the most part, that's how it works. You know, he was very specific about that to say that this information coming from WWE seems to be 100% legit from a high up there. Who could that be? Bruce Pritchard? Probably not Triple H himself. William Regal? He's in the inner circle. Who knows? Nick Khan himself could be reaching out to Fightful. I don't know. But he said somebody high up in WWE themselves reached out to him directly to say, no, that's not a thing. So it leads me to wonder, is Dave Meltzer just making up his own stories for press? He's the one reporting that CM Punk is in talks with WWE. Now he's the one reporting in the next issue that CM Punk was rejected by WWE. Is he booking his own storylines for the Wrestling Observer? Sean Ross Sapp's information from a high up within WWE wanted to be very clear that they are not, were not, and do not intend to be anytime soon in talks with CM Punk. Do not get your hopes up for Survivor Series. You will be let down. Of course, we all know, as the wrestling marks that we are, that because CM Punk said, I'm free till about, for the next 2 months, which brings us to November, that CM Punk to WWE confirmed, and all the fans in Chicago are going to be going, CM Punk, CM Punk. See, you know it's going to happen. Now, could this be one of those things where the stir is so great that they go out and they try to acquire Punk like they tried to do with Sting back when The Undertaker was going to return and everybody thought it was Sting? Perhaps. And maybe it's partially true that, that they just told Punk that they weren't interested, that there were feelers sent out and that Punk was told no, or that they said they were not interested in Punk. It just seems to be two completely different stories. And on one hand, you got Meltzer, who fibs stuff from time to time. And here's the thing with Meltzer, if you listen to him talk long enough, as I do, I listen to a lot of his podcasts or, Wrestling Observer Radio or whatever the fuck. This guy books his own storylines in his head. You can hear him talking outright. He'll get asked about something and he'll be like, because probably, my guess is that he'll probably, and then, because he wouldn't do that. And he wouldn't do that because that would be, Meltzer invents stuff based on what he thinks he knows. And he reports this as accurate. A guy like a Sean Ross Sapp, who for my money, just from an outside perspective, is the top-notch guy you need to be tuning into for your wrestling dirt. He's, batting 1,000, basically, You know what I mean? He doesn't have this kind of track record of fucking this kind of shit up. I tend to believe his side of it, but who knows? Who knows what exactly is going on here? I don't know that WWE needs to bring in CM Punk. They got all those hints. That's the other thing, right? Seth Rollins is out there saying he's the best in the world. Corey Graves is cutting the greatest trick the devil ever did was make you think he's not real promo. And, what Nakamura's dropping GTSs and everybody's fucking, oh my God, CM Punk, he's coming back, of course. Maybe he will. Endeavor, obviously, TKO. Punk's got that history with UFC. Not a great history, but he's got a history with UFC, and he's friendly with them on their side. Maybe, Ari Emanuel would see a CM Punk as a former UFC guy and go, that could be a good call to bring him in. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it bringing CM Punk in. A lot of people were talking about that Punk's, is he going to make that big of a difference in the numbers and everything for WWE to make it worth the headaches that he's going to cause? That's the other thing that Sean Ross Sapp is saying, is that the talent are all being told no. Talent that have specifically asked, hey, is it true? Are the rumors true? Tell me, is it true? Say it isn't so. And WWE is telling these top talent, no, it's not true. Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. So are they kayfabbing their top talent? And Sean Ross Sapp made it clear to specifically say that these were top talent that WWE is not going to just want to be in the habit of kayfabbing and fucking with the heads of, right? They could be, but, for example, a Roman Reigns. I don't think it's a Roman Reigns, but even a Seth Rollins perhaps might be a good pick for that. To just outright, if he's like, hey, you bringing that fucker in here? I don't like Phil. Maybe, and they're like, no, we're not bringing him in. Promise, pinky swear. There's a lot of mixed reporting going on, and I tend to believe Sean Ross Sapp, but maybe Meltzer is onto something. Maybe there was something going on there. Whatever it is, it appears to be dead now. So what happens with CM Punk from here? Where does he go? What does he do? Does he retire from the world of pro wrestling? Does he go to New Japan? New Japan Strong, Impact Wrestling, CMLL, sign with fucking Conan. What does CM Punk? Maybe he's the top star for Freddie Prinze Jr.'s gimmick that he's coming out with. I don't know how big of a promotion that's going to be, but he's doing it. Maybe Punk's his guy there. He could probably make a pretty big splash if it is. This is going to be interesting. I don't know that maybe Punk ends up back in AEW. Maybe a year or so down the line, he does end up going back to WWE because they need something big for WrestleMania or something or whatever. Who knows? It's pro wrestling. We've all learned, and we should all know by now, never say never. Nothing is a no. It's only a no for now. Nothing is out of the question. But for now, it appears to be dead. Let me know your thoughts down below, though. I'm curious. Where do you want to see CM Punk? Do you want to see CM Punk? Are you one of the people that fuck CM Punk, get him out of here, good riddance, glad you're gone? Or are there people that, hey, man, he should do Impact? Do you think he'll even do a lower level fucking promotion like an Impact? Or, anything, even a New Japan? Maybe in New Japan, I would lower myself to that at worst. But now Punk's got to be over in Japan. What if there's another Pandy that happens? And he's got to be stuck there. Can't go there. Is he going to get paid as much? His stock has fell. He is not worth what he was worth. At one point, look, CM Punk coming up in the indies was a hot product right off the bat because he's putting on good indie shows. His matches with Colt Cabana were infamous, and promoters were buying that match, essentially booking them to face each other all around the loop on the indies, everywhere they could get a match in. Ring of Honor, he made a name for himself there. He was in demand. He signs with WWE. For WWE, the fan support behind CM Punk, and a guy like a Paul Heyman behind him, rose him up to the point where fans needed him in WWE. They demanded it on the main roster. Started in ECW, but quickly moved to SmackDown and everything else. And that propelled, he just up and up and up, right up to the WWE Championship with John Cena, and the Summer of Punk that they were doing there, which they could have done a much better job of. We could go into that another time. And then when CM Punk left the WWE, he wasn't even on the decline there. He was still hot as hell. And then he was gone for 7 years. And then for him to come back, when he came back to WWE, to AEW, people were chanting Punk's name for 7 years. It never stopped. They needed this man in their life. And then he comes back to AEW, and he slowly, methodically ruins his entire legacy. Now, you could blame that on AEW. Can't blame it on their booking, though. Punk arguably was probably the best booked in the entire fucking company. He had great feuds, great stories, won the fucking world title twice, beat top stars, worked with young talent, tagged with CMFTR got to be a thing, tagged with Sting, main evented big pay-per-views, wrestled in Wembley Stadium. You can't say that he had a bad run. Samoa Joe, MJF. It was a good run. Injuries aside, Moxley. Never got to work with Kenny or the Bucks, but, that would have been fucking dope to see, especially after said incident. So it wasn't the booking. Maybe it was the promotion. Well, they could have always promoted harder that Punk was there, perhaps. But it was Punk's big fat fucking mouth and ego that was getting him in trouble. That was ruining it with the fans. It was that press conference. It was the rumors coming out from backstage. And maybe a lot of that was the Bucks trying to smear and ruin Punk. We've heard a lot of that from the Bucks, that they're, that's kind of their MO, is to leak dirty shit to the dirt sheets to kind of paint people in bad pictures that they don't like. So maybe they were burying Punk behind the scenes and sabotaging him. Or, maybe it's a mix of both. Maybe Punk's big fat mouth and bad attitude came from the Bucks trying to sabotage him backstage. Obviously, that Hangman thing and the Colt Cabana thing were both uncalled for. And Punk's not a bear that you're going to poke. He's going to fucking paw at you with he's going to swipe your fucking head off. Punk's a wild animal. Don't poke that bear. He'll fight you. He'll come at you. Verbally, physically, all of it. But then Punk takes it too far. He goes scorched earth. That press conference and then the fight backstage was like, there was zero respect for AEW as a company. Tony Khan sitting right next to him. Fuck him. Who cares? I'm on a rant here. I'm going to eat my fucking muffins and bury the entire company. That's where he went too far, where people were like, wow, this guy, the fucking ego on this guy, the attitude, the self-righteousness, the conviction in which he's the superiority factor, all of it. The I'm better than you, I don't think it's always been his thing, right? Straight edge means I'm better than you. long before MJF was doing it. And then when he came back again, now he's fighting people backstage again and having all these incidences and being a dick backstage in Collision and telling people they can't fucking play in his playground and shit. In the modern era where everybody's touchy and sensitive and doesn't like mean, angry, violent, bitchy people to begin with, Punk wasn't going to fit in anyway. No matter how many times he wanted to go out and praise trans kids' rights, those people were still going to have hurt feelings over his words. So Punk buried himself every chance he got into, it's a mix of today's modern era not being a good fit for him. It's a mix of maybe a little bit of a lack of promotion. But Punk, and obviously I think the Young Bucks were pushing him backstage. But at the end of the day, Punk's ego and his big mouth got him where he is now, which is shit out of luck in both companies. He was the anti-hero when he left WWE because it was for a cause. And AEW was the anti-WWE company. It was a perfect fit. He's the perfect icon for that company to lead it, to lead that charge as the number 2. But we quickly found out that CM Punk was always in it for CM Punk, which is what Triple H had said in that promo. He was right. Appears to be anyway, right? You don't want a revolution. You want what's best for you, for Phil. That's what he's really fighting for. It's sad. It's sad because I am, I don't know, a huge CM Punk fan. And a lot of other people are and were and are confused about it too. Like a lot of people are confused about their genders. A lot of people are confused about whether they're CM Punk fans or not. I get it. I understand. But Punk is kind of shit out of luck now. He can keep going lower down the card. I'm sure Impact would love to have him. They're not going to be able to afford him unless he just fucking lowers his value. If he wants to keep wrestling, he could go to New Japan, where he always said he wanted to wrestle in Japan anyway. Working for New Japan proper, along with fucking Mercedes, who I think is probably going to AEW anyway too. Could be the next step for Punk and probably the next logical step because it's the next biggest promotion. Maybe that's the move to make. Other than that, I can't see him even. Maybe Freddie Prinze Jr. can kick off his company with a huge bang with signing Dolph Ziggler and CM Punk, and maybe he can move in and be like, wow, I can really kind of up the value of this new promotion I'm trying to launch here with some big name talent. But I think that would lower the value of Punk. I don't know. I think it's a big mess. Maybe he just rides off into the sunset, and he's the textbook perfect example of you either die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. That's the story of CM Punk's career in a nutshell. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I've gone on this long enough. While you're there, hit that subscribe button, like it or some shit. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next.
Let me tell you something, brother. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on this channel, dude. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.